Ryan, have you ever thought about being an architect?
Have you ever thought about being a truck driver?
Have you ever thought about being a salesperson?
What about something in the medical field?
Realtor? Listen to Career Pass every Thursday
Wherever you listen to podcasts,
and on YouTube. You might learn something.
you might not.
It's your life. Make it happen.
Memories fading, we all forget those not so shiny things you do.
Career Pass. We had a guy that was a pilot and gave us a book.
Nice. Yeah, my butt.
I can't, autographed it to me and signed it to me. I haven't read it.
Rubbed it in my face a little bit. But
Well, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I don't know how to read.
him too, really. You both did.
Did he? Kind of?
Not really. but-
Okay. I thought I was going to say. I hate you. I hate both of you. Welcome to Career Pass. Jeez Louise. Welcome to Career Pass by InfoNet. I'm Victor Boudreau with Mr. Ryan King. Hey, Ryan.
Hey.
Hey, what up? Over 100 episodes,
Sorry.
I think. Someone's going to be dying accidentally on the set here. You know, we should do
Accidentally on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Coincidentally. And our special guest, interview guest, person, thing and stuff, Mr. Brandon Humphreys.
From episode
6.
6.
been
Can you
that-
believe that?
We had to look that up. I didn't realize. We've had the number one guest that we started with. He's already came and had to update.
The number one guest.
The first guest we ever had.
There's number one guest.
Well, he was our first guest.
It's a
Number one guest.
competition.
Yeah, well, you know him,
The number one, yeah.
Jim.
Boudreaux?
Yeah.
I know that guy.
I know.
He's not number one.
Well, I just say he was the first guest.
He's not number one in anything. No, I'm just kidding. I love Jim.
Oh, goodness. So, how's life been? So, episode 6 was like 2 years ago. The pandemic had just shortly started.
Yeah.
Good times.
It's been fun.
Did you ever?
It's fun.
I want to ask you if you get. Never mind. I won't ask that question. That's we're not going there right now.
No.
No. Okay. Ryan.
No, I'm not asking it either.
Oh, okay. So, you're a teacher. You were doing
Yes.
online stuff. You back in the day, the COVID, the pandemic stuff affected. Weren't you doing some? Actually, you've taught. I've known you for a few years,
Mhm.
and you went to college. You got your teacher's degree, whatever that's college educated stuff. I don't know. You went and taught. Did 5 years, Little Town,
Mhm.
northwest of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
West, northwest. Yeah.
Yeah. Little town for your 5 years, and you came back this way, and you're looking for to teach in the Spokane area.
Mhm.
So update on that for anybody that missed episode 6 because it's been a while.
Well, after I taught what we call brick and mortar, which is in an actual building, school, for 5 years, like you said, I came back here to Spokane looking for a teaching job, and it's I mean, unless you go through the substitute system here, it's really, really borderline impossible to get a teaching job. I mean, unless there's a special set of circumstances where maybe if you teach special education or if you teach science, you might be able to get a job, but English teachers are a dime a dozen, so it's
So
not.
you're a dime a dozen.
Yeah, apparently so.
Did
So
you realize this when you went to school for being an English
yes,
teacher?
yes, I did. I did.
Pardon me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
But yeah, so I ended up having to sub for a year here in Spokane, and that was when I was doing some writing at the time to just kind of make ends meet. And then one of the principals at one of the alternative schools here in Spokane told me about Washington Virtual Academies, which is where I work now, which is Washington's all online public high school, and this was before the pandemic. So
Right. Right.
so this school is just an alternative school that's online for basically any student in Washington State to enroll in for free.
Oh. So for free.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Multiple teachers that teach these different students.
Oh god, yeah, we got
Okay.
we teach students from all over the state, so we're a pretty big staff. We've got
Okay.
I don't know the exact number, but it's in the 70s or 80s.
Oh wow. Wow.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. How many students do you think this impacts? that you deal with? Not just
Ooh,
you,
total
but
number of students,
and
I'm
then-
not sure, but
okay.
I know so each of us teachers at the high school level can have up to 195 students.
wow.
So, and we're pretty full right now.
Wow.
So,
That's-
yeah. I actually had over that last year, and ended up getting some overage pay for it, which was nice.
Money's always good,
Yeah.
especially if you're already doing it.
Exactly.
So now you quit your job in the brick and mortar,
And moved back to Spokane.
moved back here. You didn't have anything lined up at the
I
time.
didn't. I thought to myself, you know, you have 5 years of experience and a master's degree. It shouldn't be a big deal getting an interview. But
I know I've had friends that are teachers that have gone back, got other degrees, you know, so they can be teaching, you know, math and history, and just so they can try to get a job. 'Cause
Yeah. It's crazy. In Spokane, anyway. I'm not sure. You know, in other parts of the country, they can't get teachers fast enough. But,
Wow.
but here we got them
About
leaking out of 4 colleges. So.
Wow.
So what would it take for you to, like, add? Because you're English, right?
Oh, I have an English and a social studies, or not social studies, but a history endorsement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does it take to add more endorsements?
A lot of times it depends on your coursework, what you've already taken, things like that. But usually it's so like they usually require you to do the core, you know, probably 5 or 6 core classes in whatever the subject that is, depending on what it is, and then you have to take a competency test after that, basically, to get endorsed. So it's like a professional competency
And
test.
does that make any difference, like in pay and different things, if you have more endorsements?
No, just more opportunities for you,
Okay.
basically. You know, the pay is still based on how many years and what your education level is. So
So master's degree, does that make you a master?
I am a master. I am a master creative writer and English person.
I've known you forever and I never thought that.
Well, there you go.
So doing the online thing, going from brick and mortar to online, what do you prefer? What do you think has the most impact for your students?
I prefer online. I honestly, I mean, there's no wood anywhere, but
There's a kind of a wood grain.
yeah, there's wood grain.
plastic.
That'll work. I want to retire from this school. To be honest, like I don't. It's not that I don't want to go back to brick and mortar. There are a lot of really good things about it, but I like what we're doing in online quite a bit.
What is it that stands out for you that makes it that much that you want to do? You want to retire doing this?
There's a couple different things. First of all, the idea that when you're not in a self-contained environment like a brick and mortar school, there's a lot less. I don't know how to say it without sounding over dramatic.
You're an English major,
There's a lot
master.
there's a lot less danger involved in, like, just from a management standpoint, right?
Oh,
Like,
okay.
you don't have to worry about kids getting in fights. You don't have to worry about
Okay, yeah.
kids bringing weapons
Mhm.
to school, any of those types of things, right?
Right.
So you get to focus just on
The learning.
and whatever else it is. And for the most part, our kids are really, really respectful online with the chat and with everything else. I mean, I have very few issues when it comes to that stuff. So I like it. Just, if nothing else, from an intellectual standpoint, I get to actually focus on teaching rather than the more babysitting aspects of being in brick and mortar. The other thing I like about it is, well, again, the idea that they're not all there trying to impress one another, trying to make each other look cool, and you know, that kind of thing. Like, it's
It's just about learning.
yeah, and that's not to say that we necessarily have better outcomes all the time. Like, I mean, it's about the same as it was in brick and mortar, as far as, you know, you got kids that want to be there and want to be learning, and kids that don't want to be there and don't want to be learning. And,
Interesting.
Yeah.
You would think that why
you would think.
Yeah, well,
you can't ever use the "you would think" when we're talking about teenagers. But.
Okay, I not knowing, and you know what, I'm ignorant to some of this stuff. That's why I'm just saying, if they're doing it online, aren't they the ones that the kids who signs them up to do it
to be successful? Yeah, they're supposed to have. their parents are called learning coaches, so they're supposed to have one adult, or it doesn't have to be parents, right? So
Right.
like
But it's
so
an
they have to
adult.
have one adult that basically signs up to be a learning coach, and that learning coach is kind of like the way we might use para-educators in a regular brick and mortar classroom, right? Like, so a parapro would come in and help with teaching and stuff,
Okay.
like, you know, help kids understand concepts that may be going over their heads, that kind of thing.
Right.
That's supposed to be the learning coach's job.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately, all of our learning coaches don't really take that job seriously.
Huh.
So,
Imagine that.
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Are you saying parents aren't always good teachers?
I'm saying that parents sometimes
Or
do their best, and their best isn't quite good enough. Yes.
How PC was that?
That was, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, you know, you got all those parents that believe that I'm paying my taxes for them to teach my kids. I shouldn't have to do any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, and there's only so much
Yeah.
that I can teach.
Yeah.
You know, so
What?
They still got to jump
so,
in
so
and
much
help.
I can do.
What?
Only so much.
You have kids?
Of course, I can't say that because we don't teach Izzy anything because she's smarter than both of us combined. But you know,
Well, that's his stepdaughter.
Well,
How
even
old
being
is Izzy
involved,
now?
you don't. That's
15.
the thing is like those teachers don't have to necessarily those parents necessarily don't have to be teachers. They just have to be involved and check. Like, hey, did you check your missing assignments this week? Did you check
Okay.
to see?
Just basic
You know,
stuff.
yeah, just that kind of thing. Like actually monitoring a kid's progress. You know, that's. And that's all it takes a lot of times. You know, if the kid knows that there's somebody out there that cares enough about them to be checking up on them, you know, even if they don't like it
Right.
on the surface,
Right.
you know, deep down they're gonna know that, hey, this person's here to help make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
How often do you have a parent or adult that's reach out to you for help? Just individual, you know, say,
Weekly,
okay,
yeah, a lot of them, are really good about that. I'd rather the kids reach out, to be honest, because it should start being their responsibility by the time they're in high school. You know, if we're getting them ready for college, you know, your mommy's not going to call your college professor for you. You know,
what? Well, I've never gone to college, so I don't know.
Well, and there's other things. I mean, that we deal with all the time, like late work and things like that, and kids asking for exemptions for different things, and it's like
Is that the way?
that's not going to happen in college. You're not going to get this.
Or in the real world?
Yeah, or in the real world. Yeah, exactly. So,
so how many classes do you teach in a day,
well, it's
or how many
How's this work?
periods? You know,
how it works actually is I assign work every day for our kids to do. Some of it is asynchronous, meaning they do it on their own. You know, they basically go in, read the lesson, do any activities that are supposed to be done there, and then usually it's once or twice a week they'll meet with me in a real class, like in a live class.
Okay.
And then go over whatever topics we're studying that week. And
Live classes that include other students
Mhm.
also? It's
yeah,
just
so we'll have typically on a Tuesday last year, for example, I would have 3 classes that Tuesday. So I would teach 3 times and have usually in those 3 classes, I'd probably get between 120 and 150 kids
Wow.
between the 3 of them.
Wow.
And then, yeah, American literature is the only subject that I'm teaching currently, and then I've got 3 to 4 sections of that depending on what enrollment is next year, and then I'll have an honors class as well.
Wow.
So
La-di-da.
So you assign them homework,
mm-hmm.
but since you're not brick and mortar, you don't get like papers turned in.
No, that's all turned in electronically, and I go through and I have tools that I can go through and mark them up and things like that.
So you still sit there all night long grading papers, and just not
Well,
actual paper.
yeah, I mean, it's still grading still takes up a lot of my time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about English. English takes longer to grade than any other subject in school. I mean, if you just think about the sheer logistics of time of it, right? You assign a 2 or 3 page paper, and even if you only spend 5 minutes on each paper, trying to do 160 of
I was
those
just say,
is
and then
is 13, 14 hours a week worth of work to try to get it done. And that's only spending 5 minutes.
Right.
You know,
And
going
obviously-
through and skimming and basically seeing what's wrong and giving general feedback.
Wow.
Really doing that.
Do you have help with that, or you strictly?
I actually this year and last year I'm teaching with a partner, which is really great. Like I'm doing co-teaching now,
Oh.
which I love because it's basically we have a high concentration. So my partner teacher is a special education teacher, and then I'm an English teacher, and we co-teach these American Lit classes. So we have a high concentration of kids who are in special ed that are in our class, and so the way that we work it out is, I mean, I always kind of look at it like a cop partnership. Like we're 50-50 on everything. Like we you know are, and in fact most of our kids don't even know that my partner is a special ed teacher. You know, they think she's an English teacher too.
Okay.
Basically,
Okay.
so yeah, so we're doing a pretty good job when it comes to that, and yeah, she's fantastic. So I would highly recommend if there are any teachers out there that are looking for it, and you have the opportunity to co-teach, I would say do it, because it definitely helps cut down on that load, and gives you more creativity when you're trying to plan all kinds of different things, because two heads are better than one, you know?
Right.
So
And I know because of our personal, what we've done before, you're open to input and other people's ideas.
no, it's my way or the highway.
Yeah. So, anybody else anybody wants to get into teaching at this point, and that's one main reason to do with career paths is to give a nugget of information. And we talked about this, I'm sure, at the episode 6.
Mhm.
Remember that one? Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember it well yourself?
Yes.
I remember parts of it actually.
Remember all
Which
of
part?
I'll tell you later.
it.
I know we talked about teaching. I'm sure we covered it. This the thing is, we get to the point where there's so much, and not having time for us even to go back and go over what we talked about back in it. What would you suggest? Anybody that wants to get into teaching, let's say a student of yours. Let's say, what would you say? Hey, Mr. They call you Mr. Humphreys.
Yeah.
Like, what? Really, Mr.?
Yeah.
Not hey, you, dude.
No, it's
You
Mr.
get
Humphreys.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
So they are well behaved and polite.
Yeah.
So I think in brick and mortar, there's a lot of
Well, they get away with whatever you let them get away with.
Yeah.
So I mean that's
Can you lay that on the law?
kind of the way it is. Yeah. So
So if a student came to you or reached out to you and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about being English lit. I want to possibly pursue teaching like you. You've inspired me."
well, first of all, I tell them to go to community college first.
Okay.
Just because it's cheaper. And you're gonna, to be honest, 95% of the colleges that you go to out there, the 4-year colleges, your first 2 years, the only thing you're getting out of it by paying the extra money to go to a 4-year school is the experience of going to a 4-year school, right?
Right.
Like I'm gonna do the Animal House thing and all that. Like, if that's really worth, tens of thousands of extra
And
dollars.
nowadays,
then-
we discuss this on the show
Yeah.
often about it's not always about teaching these days or learning. There's more money, business involved.
There can be, yeah, unfortunately. So,
Are you still paying on your student loans?
Oh, of course.
Okay, thank you. I just thought.
Yeah.
How long have you been out of school now?
I'm just gonna keep going to school. I'm gonna go back and get a doctorate and just keep going to school until hopefully I just pass out from,
Pass out or die?
pass out or die, and then I won't.
So
ever
if you
have to pay
keep
back.
going to school, do you have to pay on your student loans?
No, I'll just keep going in perpetuity.
Yeah,
Just
see?
keep racking it up. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Izzy would be up for that. She loves school and she doesn't want to go to work. So.
Okay.
Just keep racking it up. Why not? No. But I would say definitely look at community college for your first 2 years, because you're going to get that associate's degree right off the bat. Then go to the 4-year school. You'll probably end up being there for 3 or 4 years, even though you've already done 2.
Right. Right.
A community college. But yeah, 3 I would say is pretty typical for people. It takes about 5 years total to get a teaching, just your basic teaching bachelor's.
Is that how long it took you? I can't remember.
God, it took me. Well, I mean, in terms of chronological time or time I actually put in.
Right.
'Cause
Well, yeah.
chronological time, it was 17 years, but I wasn't going to school the whole time. So
You took time off to.
no, but I went to Spokane Falls for about 2 years. Then I went to Eastern for 3.5. And
I'm trying to remember all back in the because I know we were around each other back in the.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then when I got my master's, that was another 2.5 on top of that. So
Are you gonna really go for a doctorate?
I'm thinking about it.
How long does that do you think possibly take?
Another 2 or 3 years. Yeah. But if I do that, then I'm gonna probably that would end the discussion about retiring at WAVA. Because if I get a doctorate, then I'd probably write a book and start consulting and make real money.
Wow, what's that? What happens? See, I don't know.
Yeah, you can for sure. It's so school districts always hire these consultants to come in and do trainings and things like that, and most of the time they're basically former teachers who have gotten their doctorates, do studies in education, and they make a whole lot more money doing that than they do teaching. So you make a lot more money teaching teachers than you do teaching just regularly. But I don't know. I still really like being in the classroom, and I make enough money for just me. So if I had a family these days, it'd be a totally different story.
Right. And let's clarify. You're basically a single man.
Mm-hmm.
You've been married,
I've got a
divorced.
dog.
You have a dog, no children.
Yep, that's about it. Yeah, I don't have much in the way of like dependents or expenses and things like that. So
You can do what you
for
want.
me, my salary is actually pretty good for a single dude. But then there's rent.
and cost of living,
and
cost
cost
of
of
living,
living and everything else.
skyrocketed.
Yeah,
everything's.
we were just talking about my rent just went up basically 300%. So from moving. So because I was living in a different situation where I wasn't paying a property company or anything like that. So,
Right.
But yeah.
Wow.
So now, according to Dave Ramsey,
Yes.
teachers, that's the profession that has the most millionaires
I could see it.
by the time they retire, putting in
Oh yeah,
their
because
pension
my
and stuff.
retirement's tight.
Yeah.
My retirement's on point.
When they retire, they're,
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's the profession that has the most millionaires when they retire.
Yeah, my retirement's pretty good. Even the stock market sucks right now. So half my retirement, there's like a bunch of different plans.
Right.
For how that goes, but
Investments.
one of the teaching in Washington State, one of the retirement plans is where you get half in a pension, like that's protected money, and then the other half you can invest in the stock market. And so even though my investments are down right now, I'm still set pretty good.
Nice. So it's the benefit of being a teacher, long term.
That's a really good benefit of being a long term.
And you also get you have health care and benefits.
Oh yeah, I get great
throughout.
health care. Yeah, benefits are amazing. So I never complain about that.
And now you don't have to drive much.
I don't have to drive. Yeah, hardly at all.
I'm just bringing that up.
Except for to come do shows up on the north side.
Well, when was the last time we saw each other?
I know, just
Last time I saw you, I think actually saw you. You were downtown, you and the other guys, and I came down. It was
that's
last
right.
October or something like that, or
Yeah.
September, October. And it was really cold out, and not many people were out, and I hung out for a while, and it got dark, and
Yeah, that might have been down. Was that down at Iron Goat?
I don't know. It was outdoors.
Yeah, probably at Iron Goat then.
I just remember, and you brought it up, and I boogied down there so I could come see it. So we've been. I know you've gotten together with Bob since, and
A little bit, not much.
he's invited you to come to breakfast, and you've blown us off.
Hey, I invited you last time, and you.
I know. Well, that's. Well,
Anyhow.
I'm out of here.
So this question has nothing to do with teaching. How did you two actually meet?
Oh my God.
God, I don't. Well, I think it was Matt that introduced us.
A mutual friend of ours. You want to tell the story? Go ahead.
Sure.
You're longtime friends with Matt.
Longtime friends with a mutual friend of ours, and he was looking to put together. Well, he started playing bass in your band already.
Right. I'd met Matt because we were both pro wrestling fans.
Yeah, and he started playing bass.
And I needed a singer bass player, and Matt sang, and Matt kind of played guitar. Well, played rhythm guitar, and I was looking for a bass player, and Matt could sing. and brought him into the band, and one thing led to another, and we ended up needing a guitar player, and we decided to three-piece it, and Brandon and Matt had done duo stuff for years, old classics, rock and roll, so
Now, was this Plastic Saints?
no,
It
Or was this
well
before?
before that.
well before.
Well
This
before.
is, I'm not even sure what Mad
Rush.
Mad Rush maybe was what it was.
That's what we called
what
ourselves.
yeah, and
It was all cover stuff at the first,
yeah,
beginning, and
because
then
I played in cover bands all my life and brought Matt in, and then we needed, and Matt brought Brandon in, and musically it was easy. It was a piece of cake. We'd go out and gig because we were playing old rock and roll classics, Stones, Beatles, whatever, and get people dancing. And between the three of us, it was a piece of cake, because these guys already knew each other and played together for so much, and I think somehow I don't even remember how this happened, but I do remember apparently Brandon. I reminded Brandon of somebody he used to play in a band with or used to work with. And because Brandon and I weren't friends back then. Brandon and I we played music in a band, but and the band always gigged. We almost every weekend back then played almost every weekend we had lined up, and something happened where Brandon just didn't want to play anymore, and I'm not sure to this day, was it because
there's a bunch of different things. It was less with you than it was just my own little spiritual stuff.
That's hard
that I
to
was
say.
get through.
I know, right? Usually you'd believe it was all me.
Yeah, no,
and
it
part of it was
wasn't.
that you were
I
trying
don't-
to find yourself.
Yeah, and so I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and that was the whole thing. And then after about a year of maybe a year,
Well,
year,
let me
year and
interrupt.
a half of not playing.
We had one gig lined up, and I needed, and I called Brandon. I asked Matt to call. Can you do this one gig? Never heard back from him. So it's like, all right, screw him. Okay, whatever. I found somebody to replace. Did the gig, and we moved on. I think we got Jim in, and then after that, Bobby came in possibly, and then Jim left, guitar player, and we needed somebody. And I do remember this vividly, because Matt goes, we're looking for a guitar player to replace the guitar player that replaced Brandon from the year before. And Matt, our mutual guy, called me, and I was at work at the time, and I still remember this day. He goes, well, Brandon's available. I go, mother, Pete. I go, musically, piece of cake. But he dogged us. I mean, that's business to me. It wasn't personal, it's business. And that's the thing, is like, I go, Matt, he would have to call me and basically kiss my ass and go, hey, I'm the stupid mother effing, please. And Matt goes, okay. Swear to God, like within an hour, I get a phone call again at work. I'm still at work, and it's Brandon on the phone. And I swear to God, he repeated almost exactly what I told Matt he'd have to say. Hey, Vic, I'm a stupid mother, piece of blah, blah, blah. Wow, okay, he's willing to do that. Okay, well, okay, so we lined up rehearsal, and we rehearsed maybe a couple times, then we went out and started playing again, because we had gigs lined up, and every time he came to practice, because I didn't trust him yet, and he'd dogged me on business-wise. It wasn't personal, because we weren't friends, but business-wise, I've been doing this forever. And it was like, I rode his ass. I was mean, kind of mean. When I'm obnoxious verbally, as you know how I am, it was mean. I meant it with Brandon, say, hey, you stupid mother piece of, and he'd be walking with his guitar and coming in and practice stuff. And for me, he finally, I don't know how long, 6 months, 4 months, 6 months later, he finally came into practice, and I did the same thing. He goes, how much longer of this are you going to do this? And I go, no, we're good. He put up with the crap of me dogging him, because he'd already screwed me as far as I was concerned. He came back, he acknowledged, and then he put up with me riding his ass basically, and he manned up, and then he called me on it, and it's like, okay, we're good. And I think that was that at that point, and we established a friendship at that point. We realized a trust, and I'm sorry to interrupt and tell the story. You know how I feel about this. Musically, Brandon and I, we played in bands forever, and there's just something there. You know that, and I know it. I know Bobby knows.
Well,
it.
we should also say that this was back when I was 22, 23.
He's still growing,
when this-
and I'm a
when
few
this
years
was
older.
happening, you know,
But
too, so.
he was finding himself, and fortunately, and at one time Matt left.
That's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been. Matt left the band to do his own thing, and at that time, me having to apologize and suck up. Here's my. That was Brandon being the man and coming and dealing with the situation and proving to me that, yeah, he can deal with it and made it right. And when Matt was the lead singer at the time, and Brandon would sing lead, but not as much. And when Matt decided to leave, Brandon said, "Well, you know, I'll do lead vocals, and we'll keep playing," which is great, which we did. And I said something about to do with originals because we're still slipping originals in. Always have done originals in my bands, and I just told Brandon at the time. I said, "You sing good, but I don't know originals. I don't know if you have it. I don't remember exactly how I worded it, but basically." And so we decided to go in the studio and start recording some stuff. And 2 or 3 songs into it, we'd lay tracks down, and whether Brandon did this on purpose or not, he came back after I'd done drum tracks. He done guitar, came back with vocals, bass, everything else. Rough mix, but it was a pretty good mix with Joe. He always did us good. He gave me a copy. I popped it in, and he took off. All right, man, thanks. I'll listen to it. And I had to call Brandon at that time, and I go, "Dude, I am so sorry. I am wrong. I am wrong. I am wrong." I go, "You effing, I don't even remember how I put it. I was blown away by his vocals on the original stuff and everything he did. And I respected and loved him even before that, but that was just like, I had to apologize. And that was one of the things that we've done over the years. Did the album, we've done original shows, we've opened for big name bands, we've Bloomsday several times, big and small. We've done shows, even there's just something about us playing music, and yeah, he knows it, I know it, Bob knows it, and it's part of, and that's Plastic Saints now. So anyway, and that's one of the songs that, music wise, that intros at every show is Plastic Saints, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the story. As I let Brandon tell the whole story.
Yeah, the whole story.
I have to, and to this day, he knows that. He manned up to me, called it after he, it didn't piss me off. It wasn't personal, and he knows that it was business. And then we all go through stuff, and he's one. I'd do anything for him, and musically, yeah, I can't replace the best situation that I've ever had. Best nights of playing music was still 4th of July out
Oh man, that was great. That was
Two
a great
Rivers.
show.
See, I don't know what was in the air. We played 4 sets. We were outdoors, big stage, big lighting. You'd think, right? You'd think
Rivers, right?
we didn't. I didn't even have a drink that night. I don't drink, but
I'm not,
Yeah, you might have,
I'm always
but-
drinking, but
but it was one of those nights. Yeah, it's just magic. So anyway, as I interrupted, so Brendan and I played music together. That's how we met. That's how we've known each other for.
I know I've seen a lot of bar bands and stuff over the years.
Yep.
And when you guys played the bars, I loved it because you guys were way different than anyone else. The way you interacted with the
Crowd?
crowd and everything, I enjoyed watching you guys.
you mean we had fun?
Yeah,
In the crowd. We
the
knew
crowd
our,
had fun.
we knew our job by then. We
because
knew
they
it.
got harassed.
Yeah,
People love to get harassed.
They do. Well, one of our guests, Sean, when Sean Edmond, he came 2 nights in a row. This is back before this situation, but came out and saw the band. Actually, might have been out of Marabou. Anyway, one night came out. I was nailing him, picking on him on the microphone. Next night, something else was going on, and he had to come. Are you mad at me? I go, what? You're not bitching. You're not yelling at me. You're not picking on me over the microphone. You're not calling me dumbass and stuff. Who knows? I have something else.
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I created my band just for you.
Exactly, but it's like, are you mad because I wasn't picking on him and making fun of him in front of everybody on the microphone? It's just one of those. Yeah, but yeah, here you go. Yeah. So, and you're still playing music.
Mhm.
I brought this up. If Plastic Saints was to ever play again, it's not money at this point for me. But it'd have to be the right situation. I just don't know what the right situation would ever be.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it'd have to be
Something special.
Yeah, and I'm getting to that point just with music in general where I don't know, not to sound
Jaded and
jaded and,
Burned out.
or full of myself or anything else like that. Where it's just like I've done enough of the little tiny smoky bar room in the middle of
Nowhere.
BF, Idaho.
Exactly. Exactly.
Where there's a cigarette vending machine behind the drums, and you know,
Yeah.
done enough of that stuff to where I'm not really eager to sign up for it. You know?
Right.
So
No,
it's like,
exactly. It had to be something special.
even the shows in the band I'm in right now, it's like we don't do them unless they're places we know we like to play.
Yeah.
And or if it's a road trip out of town somewhere.
So if you want to catch some Plastic Saints, just Google or YouTube Plastic Saints Inside.
Yeah.
That's our first song off the album that we did some years ago. One of my favorite songs ever. And you can check it out what Brandon and I have done together. It's not a video, but it's a
Put
video.
it on repeat on Spotify or
there you go.
or Apple Music, and that way I can get a fraction of a cent.
Nice, big time. I have had people catch on to it too, and yeah, so I try to still promote and put it out there because I'm proudest of our album and what we've done, and you know that. I mean, after all the albums I've done, I'm proudest of our band and what we did.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
There you go. Update interview with Brandon Humphreys. Like to say anything else about your? Share with our listeners, our audience, our YouTube people that might be on unedited. He's been on stage on a microphone forever, and he's a school teacher, and he just went,
I don't know. No, I would just say if you do want to be a teacher, it's not. There'll be a lot of people, you know, that will tell you all the things that are wrong with it, but and those are, you know, definitely still out there as far as, you know, it's not a whole lot of money. It's not, you know, you do work really hard for 9 months of the year, but I mean, it's Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
I can barely tell because I'm on summer break.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the other part
You're
of.
still making money.
That's the other part of teaching. Well, my contract is for the 9 months of work that I do, and that's what the amount of money that they pay me for.
No,
and they split it up over 12 months.
Right.
So, yeah.
I understand.
So I'm still getting paid.
Right. Right. But you still work the 9 months. But yeah. No. Once again.
But you quickly realize that 3 months that you're getting paid without going to work, that money disappears quicker because you're not at work, so you're out spending money.
Exactly. There is that. But no, yeah, it's a great. I mean, like I just got back from a week in Ocean Shores, taking a trip right after summer right after spring or
into school
is right at the end of the school year. And
school is out for summer.
Yeah, and I'm planning on probably going 2 or 3 more trips this summer. So
2.
Yeah,
Anywhere?
2 or 3.
Just anywhere?
I like to camp and go outside.
That's right.
So
You were talking about going.
I'm probably just gonna do a lot of that.
Remember our gigs up at Elkins where we basically camped at the cabin and kind of a weekend up in the woods.
Yeah, those were fun.
We had good times, many times.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else, Mr. King?
No.
For Mr. Humphreys?
No, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. You know I love you.
Love you too.
It's how easy is that? Get us out of here, Ryan. Get us out of here.
Thank you for watching and listening to Career Path. Please like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, something.
And if you want to learn something
anything.
new, email us. We'll send it. We'll forward it to Brandon if you want more information about teaching, etc.
Yeah.
He'll help you out. That's what he's here for.
But I'll warn you, I don't check emails that often, so
Yeah.
be patient.
Yeah.
I'd be embarrassed to talk about how many unread emails are in my box right now.
There you go. Enough said. Remember, it's your life. Make it happen. Till next time. Thanks, brother.
Thanks.
Ashes to ashes.
Okay.
Take 24. La 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 la.
Career Path.